In the quiet hum of a bustling city, an old bookstore stood tucked between towering glass buildings. It was a place where time seemed to pause, dusty shelves lined with stories, some forgotten, others waiting to be discovered. Every Thursday evening, just before closing, I would notice a man sitting in a corner of the store. He'd be bent over a stack of old books, a small lamp casting a warm glow over his work. One evening, curiosity got the better of me. I approached him. He was meticulously repairing a battered book. Its spine was cracked, pages yellowed with age, and corners dog-eared. A small pile of similarly worn books sat beside him. "Excuse me," I said. "I've seen you here before, always working on these old books. May I ask why you do it?" He looked up with a kind smile. "I restore them," he said, holding up the book he was working on. "These are books that would otherwise be discarded. Their stories deserve another chance to be read, to touch someone's life." I was intrigued. "That's admirable," I said. "But aren't there thousands of books out there in need of repair? Many more in libraries, thrift shops, and personal collections. Can one person's efforts really make a difference?" He chuckled softly, placing the restored book gently on the pile. "Perhaps not to the world at large," he said, "but to the person who picks this book off a shelf and finds inspiration in its pages, it could mean everything." He gestured to a nearby shelf. "See that young girl over there? Last week she found a book I restored. She told me it was the very book her grandmother used to read to her when she was little." Her eyes lit up, as if she'd found a missing piece of herself. I was struck by the profound simplicity of his words. "So, you keep going because it matters to someone?" "Exactly," he said, his smile widening. "Every book I restore is a small act of faith. Faith that a story, once lost, can find its way to someone who needs it. And for that person, it can make all the difference in the world." In a world preoccupied with sweeping change and grand gestures, it's easy to underestimate the power of small, intentional acts of care. The truth is, profound change often begins in the quiet, unnoticed corners of life. Whether it's restoring a book, helping a stranger, or offering kindness to one's soul, what you do may not change the world for everyone, but for someone, it can mean everything.